Listen to me very carefully. I am King Solomon, the richest man who ever lived, and I'm about to shatter everything you think you know about wealth. Right now, while you're struggling to pay bills, stressing about your future, watching others get rich while you stay broke, wealth itself is desperately searching for you. Yes, you heard me right. Wealth is hunting you down. But here's the brutal truth. You keep missing the signs. You keep walking past golden opportunities every single day because nobody taught you how to recognize them. Your ancestors didn't pass down this knowledge. Your parents couldn't give you what they never had. Stop for a second. How much longer will you accept being financially average? How many more years will you watch from the sidelines while others live the life you deserve? I ruled over the greatest kingdom in history. I accumulated more gold than entire nations. And today, I'm going to reveal the 7 unmistakable signs that wealth is actively seeking you right now. Miss these signs again, and you'll spend another decade wondering why money flows to everyone except you. Pay attention. Your financial breakthrough is closer than you think. The secret that changes everything. Stop believing the lie. Wealth doesn't chase anyone. That's poverty thinking. That's victim mentality. That's exactly why you're broke right now. Listen to me carefully. Wealth doesn't chase, it finds the prepared. It hunts down those who deserve it. It seeks out those who can handle it without destroying themselves or everyone around them. You think money is running away from you? Wrong. You're repelling it with your immaturity. You're pushing it away with your desperation. You're blocking it with your character flaws. Wealth looks at you and sees chaos. It sees someone who will waste it, abuse it, lose it, so it goes somewhere else, somewhere safer. Here's what poverty mindset tells you. Chase harder, work more hours, find better tactics, learn more strategies, hustle until you collapse. That's exactly backwards. That's why you stay poor while others get rich without breaking a sweat. The truth is brutal but liberating. Wealth flows to reliability. It gravitates toward inner maturity. It finds those with real discernment. When these foundations exist in a person, money recognizes a worthy administrator. It sees someone who won't squander the gift, someone who won't let power corrupt them, someone who understands the sacred responsibility. But here's where everyone gets it wrong. They ask the wrong question. They spend years asking how to earn more, how to make money faster, how to multiply income. That question keeps you broke forever. It keeps you chasing your own tail like a desperate animal. The right question changes everything. How do I become worthy of managing more? How do I develop the character that wealth demands? How do I build the inner foundation that attracts abundance naturally? This shifts everything from tactics to character. From shortcuts to long-term vision, from manipulation to ethical consistency. And that's where these 7 signs come in. They're not motivation, they're not feel-good fluff, they're objective indicators of readiness, silence over approval, wisdom over quick gains, discipline over comfort, patience over instant gratification, value recognition over popular opinion, stewardship over ownership, courage over convenience. This isn't some surface-level pep talk. This is spiritual surgery. This confronts your fears head-on. This exposes your vanity. This destroys your self-deception. Because wealth demands truth. It demands authenticity. It flows to those who face reality without flinching. The first test of worthiness. Can you sit in complete silence for 15 minutes without reaching for your phone? Without turning on music, without planning your day, without praying, without meditating, just pure, raw silence with your own thoughts. If you can't, you've just discovered why money runs from you like you have the plague. Your inability to endure silence reveals something devastating. You're addicted to approval. You're dependent on external noise. You make financial decisions to please other people. You invest to impress. You spend to fit in. You choose opportunities based on what others will think. This addiction costs you millions over a lifetime. Listen to this metaphor. In the desert, water is found in deep wells. The deeper you dig, the purer the water. But most people die of thirst on the surface because they're afraid to descend. They fear the darkness. They can't handle the quiet. So they stay shallow and desperate, dying slowly while the life-giving water waits below. Your answers are in the depth. Your breakthrough is in the silence, but you run from it like it's poison. You fill every moment with noise, stimulation, distraction. You check your phone 300 times a day. You sleep with Netflix playing. You eat with podcasts blaring. You work with music pumping. Why? Because silence terrifies you. Let me tell you about a merchant I knew. Brilliant mind, great instincts, but he couldn't bear 1 hour of silence. The anxiety was unbearable, so he made every major decision in committee. He sought approval from partners who had no skin in the game. He followed the crowd into every trend. He went bankrupt within 2 years. The answers were screaming inside him, but he couldn't hear them over the noise of social anxiety. Here's your practice. 15 minutes daily. Complete silence. No prayer, no planning, no meditation techniques. Just sit with whatever comes up. Observe your thoughts without running away. If panic arises, pay attention. That panic reveals exactly why money has been fleeing from your life. Because wealth demands solitary decisions. It requires you to choose what's right over what's popular. It needs you to disappoint loved ones when the truth is unpopular. If you can't handle 15 minutes alone with yourself, how will you handle the isolation that comes with real success? How will you make the hard choices that everyone will hate you for? Silence isn't emptiness, it's preparation. It's training for the moments when everyone's screaming sell and you need to buy, when everyone's celebrating and you need to prepare, when everyone's following the crowd and you need to go the opposite direction. The wisdom that multiplies everything. Rich people have money, prosperous people have discernment. Without discernment, lottery winners go bankrupt. Empires crumble, inheritances vanish. Smart people make stupid decisions and destroy everything they've built. Because money without wisdom is a loaded weapon in the hands of a child. When I became king, God offered me anything I wanted. Anything. Unlimited power, longer life, victory over enemies, endless pleasure. I could have asked for gold, for armies, for conquest. Instead, I asked for one thing. A discerning heart, the ability to distinguish between good and evil, the wisdom to govern well. That choice changed everything. Wealth flowed to me like rivers to the ocean, not because I chased it, but because I became worthy of it. The causal relationship is opposite to what everyone believes. Seek wisdom first, and wealth follows as a natural byproduct. Chase wealth first, and you'll lose both. Think of a tree. The roots are invisible but essential. The fruits are visible but temporary. Everyone obsesses over the fruits while ignoring the roots. They want bigger harvests without deeper foundations. They want multiplication without maturation. It's backwards, and it's why they fail. Obsession with fruits kills the tree. Nourishing roots produces harvests for decades. Your character is the root system. Your wisdom is the foundation. Your discernment is what determines whether abundance destroys you or elevates you to greater service. I once had a merchant bring me spices from distant lands. The deal looked incredible. Immediate profit, exclusive access, guaranteed demand. But something felt wrong. One question revealed everything. Where exactly did these spices come from? Turns out they were stolen from royal caravans. Partnership with him would have meant war with 3 kingdoms. Quick gain plus lack of due diligence equals perfect disaster. Here's what most people don't understand. Ethics isn't just morality, it's strategy. Refusing dishonest money protects you from reputational collapse. It shields you from political disaster. It keeps you out of partnerships that implode spectacularly. Integrity isn't limitation, it's protection. Before every major decision, ask this question. What would wisdom do? Not what pays the most right now, not what looks easiest, not what everyone else is doing. What would wisdom choose? This single question will save you from more disasters than any strategy you'll ever learn. Because wisdom compounds, quick profits diminish. Wisdom grows stronger with every application. Short-term thinking gets weaker with every failure. Choose the foundation over the quick fix. Choose the root over the fruit. Choose discernment over dollars, and watch how fast dollars follow discernment. The comfort that kills dreams. Are you using money to heal your emotions, spending to fill the emptiness, shopping to cure anxiety, buying experiences to avoid dealing with pain? If yes, stop immediately. You're making everything worse. Money spent to medicate emotional wounds becomes a drug, and like every drug, it demands higher doses for weaker effects. Pleasure gives diminishing returns. The first taste is incredible. The 10th is ordinary. The 100th is boring. The 1000th is depressing. But wisdom compounds. Learning multiplies fascination. Growth expands capacity for joy. Purpose deepens satisfaction. Choose the path that gets better with time, not worse. I knew a prince who had everything. Palaces, servants, endless entertainment, but grief and fear ate him alive from the inside. So he threw parties to forget, then gambling to feel alive, then increasingly dangerous risks to feel anything at all. He lost his kingdom, his family, and his peace trying to fill internal wounds with external stimulation. The money didn't solve his problems. It amplified them. It gave him more ways to run from himself, more sophisticated methods of self-destruction, more expensive forms of avoidance. Money magnifies what already exists inside you. If there's emptiness, it multiplies the emptiness. If there's wisdom, it multiplies the wisdom. Here's what I learned after years of pursuing pleasure. The joy I was seeking was available in simple things all along. Friendship with someone who tells the truth. Conversations that expand your mind. Sunsets that remind you how small and precious you are. Work that serves something bigger than yourself. Love that asks nothing in return. But I had to stop running long enough to notice. I had to get bored with artificial stimulation before I could appreciate natural beauty. I had to exhaust external pleasures before I could discover internal fulfillment. The path led through emptiness, not around it. If you're spending money to heal rejection, it won't work. If you're buying things to improve self-esteem, they'll make it worse. If you're using luxury to prove your worth, you're proving the opposite. Heal the emotional roots before you multiply the income. Fix the foundation before you build the mansion. Because comfort is the enemy of growth. Safety is the enemy of strength. Ease is the enemy of excellence. If your goal is comfort, you'll get neither comfort nor excellence. If your goal is excellence, you'll get both excellence and the kind of comfort that comes from genuine accomplishment. The question isn't whether you can afford it. The question is whether you can afford what it's doing to your character, whether you can afford what it's doing to your capacity for genuine satisfaction, whether you can afford what it's doing to your ability to find joy in simple things. The patience that builds empires. My temple took 7 years to plan and over 10 years to build, 17 years total. People thought I was insane. They said I was wasting time. They said I was being perfectionist. They said I should start smaller, build faster, get something done quickly. I ignored them all. Today, 3,000 years later, people still talk about that temple. How many rushed projects do you remember from last year? Patient processes produce timeless results. Hasty decisions create temporary fixes. Deep foundations support massive structures. Shallow foundations collapse under pressure. The choice is always the same. Build something that lasts or build something fast. You cannot have both. Picture a seed in the ground. Every week someone digs it up to check if it's growing. What happens? It dies. The constant interference kills the natural process. Your business ideas, your relationships, your skill development, they're all seeds. Stop digging them up every month to see if they're working. I watched a man abandon the greatest opportunity of his lifetime because he gave himself 3 months to see results. 3 months. for something that should take 3 years minimum. He had the right idea, the right market, the right timing. But he had the wrong timeline. He quit just before the breakthrough. Decades later, someone else succeeded with the exact same approach. The only difference was patience. What's the cost of haste in your life? Accepting bad conditions because you can't wait for good ones. Selling assets low because you need cash now. Breaking promising partnerships because results aren't coming fast enough. Switching strategies every quarter because you panic at the first sign of resistance. Here's a deal I was offered: triple your money in 1 year, guaranteed returns, exclusive opportunity, limited time offer. It sounded incredible. It felt urgent. It triggered every fear of missing out. I said no. Not because the math was wrong, but because the timeline was impossible without cutting corners. 6 months later, the entire scheme collapsed. My patience preserved both my capital and my reputation. Fast money screams seductively. Lasting money whispers consistently. Fast money demands your attention right now. Lasting money grows quietly while you sleep. Fast money creates anxiety and addiction. Lasting money creates peace and freedom. Which voice are you listening to? The rule is simple. Check your investments less, not more. Execute your plan longer, not shorter. Give your strategies time to work instead of changing them every time you get scared. Patience isn't passive waiting. It's active persistence in the right direction, despite temporary setbacks. Because everything valuable takes time. Relationships, skills, reputations, businesses, wisdom, character. The things you can get quickly usually aren't worth having. The things worth having usually can't be gotten quickly. Align your expectations with reality and watch your results transform. The value hidden in plain sight. Gold doesn't look like gold when it's in the ground. It looks like dirty rock. By the time it's polished and fashionable, the opportunity to buy it cheap is gone. Wealth isn't found in what everyone's celebrating. It's discovered in what everyone's ignoring, dismissing, or ridiculing. Most people judge an idea by who proposes it instead of what it proposes. They dismiss wisdom from unexpected sources. They ignore insights from people without credentials. They overlook solutions from simple people. This blindness costs them fortunes because truth doesn't care about titles. I remember a story about a poor man whose wisdom saved an entire city from destruction. His strategy was brilliant. His execution was flawless. His results were undeniable. But after the crisis passed, everyone forgot him. They went back to listening to officials who had failed them repeatedly. The poor man's humility enabled him to see what the experts missed. In my stables, there was a young man who had an extraordinary gift with horses. No training, no pedigree, no formal education. But he could calm the wildest stallion with a whisper. He revolutionized our cavalry tactics. He turned ordinary horses into elite war machines. His results earned him more respect than generals with decades of experience. Authority comes from results, not titles. Value comes from effectiveness, not popularity. Wisdom comes from truth, not credentials. But most people have this backwards. They chase impressive sources while ignoring powerful solutions. They worship credentials while dismissing competence. Here's an idea that made me wealthy beyond measure. A network of carrier pigeons for communication. Everyone laughed. They said it was primitive. They said it was ridiculous. They said it would never work. While they were laughing, I was building the fastest information system in the known world. That information asymmetry generated more profit than entire trade routes. The method is simple but not easy. Always ask what's interesting here before asking who said it. Look for the kernel of value before judging the source. Consider the possibility that you're wrong before dismissing something unusual. Give unusual ideas at least 60 seconds of honest consideration. Because value is often disguised. Opportunity often comes in clothes you don't recognize. Breakthrough often sounds like foolishness at first. The people who get rich consistently are those who see potential where others see problems, who find treasure where others see trash, who recognize diamonds while others throw away rocks. Your ability to spot hidden value determines your wealth more than any other skill, because by the time value is obvious to everyone, it's too expensive for profit. By the time everyone agrees it's smart, it's too late to get in early. Fortunes are made by seeing tomorrow's obviousness in today's obscurity. The stewardship that multiplies abundance. What did you bring into this world when you were born? Nothing. What will you take with you when you die? Nothing. Everything in between is a loan. You're not the owner, you're the administrator. This shift in perspective changes everything about how you handle money. Owners suffer from anxiety and identity attachment. When they lose money, they lose themselves. When investments fail, their self-worth fails. When net worth drops, their mental health drops. They grip so tightly that opportunities slip through their fingers like water. Stewards think differently. They reinterpret losses as redirection. They see uncertainty as opportunity. They hold resources lightly because they know they're temporary guardians, not permanent possessors. This mental freedom allows them to make better decisions with less emotional interference. I knew a vineyard caretaker who understood this perfectly. When I asked about his philosophy, he said something profound. I don't plant the vineyard, I tend it. I don't control the weather, I adapt to it. I don't own the harvest, I manage the process. This perspective made him incredibly effective because he respected natural cycles instead of fighting them. When storms destroyed half his vines, he didn't panic or despair. He calmly replanted and improved the soil. When abundant seasons came, he didn't get drunk on success. He prepared for the inevitable challenges ahead. His vineyard became the most productive in the region because he thought like a steward, not an owner. Mission-oriented allocation changes everything. Instead of hoarding idle resources, you invest in infrastructure. Instead of accumulating for accumulation's sake, you build capacity. Instead of competing for more, you focus on stewardship of what you have. This approach multiplies resources naturally. Idle gold rots in storage. Planted resources multiply through use. Money hidden under mattresses loses value to inflation. Money invested in productive relationships, skills, and systems compounds exponentially. The stewardship mindset automatically guides capital toward multiplication instead of stagnation. Here's the spiritual law that governs wealth. Those who treat money as a sacred loan are entrusted with more. Those who hoard selfishly find their resources drying up. Those who grip tightly discover their grip loosening. Those who hold lightly find abundance flowing through their hands in increasing measure. Closed fists signal immaturity to the universe. Open hands signal readiness for greater responsibility. Stewards get promoted. Owners get fired. Which are you? The prayer that changes everything. This is the most dangerous prayer you'll ever pray. Give me discernment to see things as they really are, not as I want them to be. Give me courage to act on what I see, even when it costs me everything I think I want. This prayer will turn your life upside down, because discernment exposes tumors that must be removed. Toxic relationships that drain your energy and distort your judgment. Destructive habits that sabotage your progress. Limiting beliefs that keep you small. False opportunities that look golden but lead to disaster. Discernment shows you the truth about all of it, but seeing the truth means you have to do something about it. I had an advisor everyone loved. Charismatic, intelligent, well-connected. He gave excellent counsel for years, but something started feeling wrong. Subtle inconsistencies in his stories. Minor conflicts between his words and actions. Small signs of deception that were easy to ignore. Discernment told me to investigate. Love told me to trust. Fear told me to avoid confrontation. I chose discernment over comfort. The investigation revealed a conspiracy that would have destroyed my kingdom. The confrontation was painful. The political battle was brutal, but courage saved everything I had worked to build. Ethics under pressure reveals true character. When choosing right is costly, most people choose convenient. When honesty threatens comfort, most people choose popular. When integrity demands sacrifice, most people choose compromise. This is exactly why wealth flows away from them, toward those who choose differently. Long-term prosperity is the reward for choosing unpopular right over convenient wrong. Short-term comfort is the consolation prize for choosing easy over ethical. Which are you choosing in the small decisions that no one notices? Because wealth notices everything. The protocol is simple but not easy. Pause when pressure mounts. Look beyond surface appearances. Weigh long-term consequences against short-term benefits. Act despite fear, anxiety, or social pressure. Choose honesty even when it costs you relationships. Choose integrity even when it costs you opportunities. Because discernment without courage is useless knowledge. Seeing the truth but failing to act on it makes you complicit in your own destruction. Half the people who pray for discernment don't really want it. They want confirmation of what they already believe. They want permission to do what they already planned. Real discernment often contradicts your preferences. It reveals hard truths about easy choices. It exposes comfortable lies and demands uncomfortable action. But it also guides you away from disasters you never saw coming and toward opportunities you never imagined possible. The invisible force that finds you. The universe is constantly testing your reliability with small temptations, shortcuts that compromise your principles, easy money with hidden costs, applause for popular positions you know are wrong. These aren't accidents or coincidences. They're examinations to see if your character holds under pressure. Every time you choose integrity over profit, you send a signal. Every time you choose patience over impulse, you demonstrate readiness. Every time you choose wisdom over popularity, you prove trustworthiness. The system notices. The invisible networks pay attention. Opportunities start seeking you out instead of you chasing them. Reputation becomes your collateral. Integrity becomes your guarantee. When the system trusts you, resources flow more freely. When capital recognizes reliability, risk premiums decrease. When networks know your word is good, doors open before you even knock. You become low entropy to money, a safe place for wealth to multiply. This isn't mystical thinking. It's practical mechanics. Information arrives first to people who can be trusted with it. Partnerships are offered to people who honor agreements. Better terms are extended to people who have proven their reliability. Perceived risk declines when actual reliability increases. The consequence arrives not as a goal you chased, but as a natural byproduct of character matured over time. When the cause is solid, the effect manifests at greater scale. When the foundation is deep, the structure can be tall. When the roots are strong, the fruit is abundant. But here's what most people miss. The testing never stops. Success doesn't eliminate temptation, it amplifies it. Wealth doesn't reduce moral pressure, it increases it. Power doesn't make ethics easier, it makes them more critical. The standards get higher as the stakes get bigger. Those who pass the small tests get bigger tests. Those who fail the small tests get smaller opportunities. Those who think they've graduated from testing get catastrophic lessons. Humility keeps you teachable. Pride makes you vulnerable. Which are you choosing today? Because wealth isn't looking for perfect people. It's looking for reliable people. Not people who never make mistakes, but people who learn from mistakes. Not people who never fall, but people who get back up. Not people who never face temptation, but people whose principles survive pressure. The daily practices that transform everything. 15 minutes of radical silence every single day. No exceptions, no negotiations, no substitutions. Track your reactivity levels. Monitor decision clarity. Measure your tolerance for solitude. These are leading indicators of wealth readiness. As they improve, your financial results improve proportionally. Ethical due diligence on every opportunity. Check the origin of money involved. Understand the incentives of all parties. Look for conflicts of interest. Consider secondary effects and long-term consequences. If something seems too good to be true, subject it to destructive testing. Better to miss a good opportunity than get destroyed by a bad one. Patience filters for major decisions. At least 24 months for significant business moves. 60 months for life-changing investments. No anxiety-driven pivots allowed. No panic-based strategy changes permitted. No fear of missing out reactions tolerated. Most fortunes are lost in moments of impatience. Hidden value radar constantly scanning. Listen intentionally to undervalued voices. Record simple hypotheses that others dismiss. Run low-cost experiments with clear exit criteria. Test unconventional ideas systematically. The biggest opportunities often come disguised as minor insights from unexpected sources. Financial stewardship allocation system. Dedicate specific percentages to long-term assets automatically. Infrastructure development, brand building, relationship investment, process improvement, skill development. Record rationale and alternatives for every major allocation decision. Review quarterly, but don't change reactively. Courage execution manual for difficult decisions. Systematic approach to pruning people, businesses, and habits that drain energy without producing results. Transparent communication protocols. Pre-accepted costs for choosing integrity over convenience. Documentation of unpopular but correct decisions and their outcomes. These aren't one-time actions. They're lifestyle systems that compound over months and years. The people who get wealthy don't have better opportunities. They have better preparation for opportunities. They don't have more luck. They have more readiness when luck arrives. The mistakes that keep you poor. Using applause as your compass instead of internal standards destroys judgment faster than any other mistake. When you need others to approve your decisions, you make decisions that please others instead of decisions that work. Create integrity metrics independent of social feedback. Keep records of unpopular but correct decisions and their outcomes. Obsessing over quick gains leads to frequent pivots and fear of missing out reactions. Every shiny object becomes a distraction. Every new strategy becomes a temptation to abandon current progress. Establish quarterly review cycles. Write down your investment theses. Create fact-based exit criteria. Stick to systems instead of chasing feelings. Using money as emotional anesthesia makes problems worse while creating the illusion of progress. Shopping to cure loneliness. Luxury purchases to improve self-esteem. Entertainment to avoid difficult conversations. Substances to numb anxiety. Address the root causes through therapy, purpose clarification, existential routines, and healthy boundaries. Elitism and appearance management causes you to ignore the small and simple sources of insight. Dismissing ideas based on who proposes them instead of what they propose. Overlooking solutions from unexpected places. Requiring impressive credentials before considering valuable information. Maintain pipelines of humble ideas with objective testing criteria. Identity attachment to assets creates panic when losing and arrogance when winning. Your self-worth rises and falls with net worth. Your confidence depends on market performance. Your sense of security requires constant growth. Develop stewardship mindset. Diversify across asset classes and geographies. Create contingency plans for various scenarios. These mistakes aren't moral failures. They're strategic errors that produce predictable results. Most people make them repeatedly because they've never been taught to recognize the patterns. Recognition enables correction. Correction enables improvement. Improvement enables breakthrough. The goal isn't perfection, it's progression. The goal isn't never making mistakes, it's making different mistakes. The goal isn't avoiding all risks. It's taking calculated risks with acceptable downside and asymmetric upside. Every mistake becomes tuition for the education that creates wisdom. The stories that reveal everything. The desert well metaphor shows why most people die of thirst while surrounded by water. They stay on the surface where everything is noise, distraction, and competition. They fear the descent into silence where the real answers wait. They prefer familiar suffering to unfamiliar solutions. The depth terrifies them more than death. The tree and fruit metaphor reveals why people obsess over visible results while neglecting invisible foundations. They want bigger harvests without deeper roots. They demand more fruit while providing less nourishment to the system that produces fruit. They focus on quarterly earnings while destroying long-term value. The wound and expensive bandage metaphor exposes how luxury becomes expensive anesthesia. Instead of healing emotional roots, people cover symptoms with costly distractions. The wound gets infected while the bandage gets more elaborate. The pain increases while the spending accelerates. The cure becomes the disease. The seed metaphor demonstrates how impatience destroys growth. Constant checking, measuring, and adjusting kills the natural process that creates results. Digging up seeds weekly prevents any possibility of harvest. Changing strategies monthly prevents any possibility of success. Interference disguised as management. The gold in mud metaphor illustrates how value is often disguised by appearance. By the time gold is polished and popular, the opportunity to acquire it cheaply is gone. Fortunes are made by seeing potential in what others dismiss. By recognizing quality before it becomes fashionable. By investing in tomorrow's obviousness while it's still today's obscurity. The vineyard caretaker metaphor shows the difference between stewardship and ownership thinking. Caretakers respect cycles, adapt to conditions, and focus on long-term sustainability. Owners try to control weather, demand immediate results, and optimize for short-term extraction. One approach multiplies resources, the other depletes them. The surgery and tumor metaphor explains why discernment demands intervention. Seeing problems isn't enough. Knowing what's wrong doesn't cure anything. Diagnosis without treatment is useless knowledge. Discernment without courage is spiritual entertainment. Real growth requires removing what doesn't belong, regardless of cost. These stories aren't entertainment. They're diagnostic tools. They reveal where you are in the process of wealth development. They show which mistakes you're making and which corrections are needed. They provide language for concepts that are difficult to explain, but essential to understand. The indicators that prove readiness. Tolerance for silence increases as wealth readiness develops. You can sit quietly for extended periods without anxiety or compulsion. You check your phone less frequently and make decisions with greater clarity. You require less external validation and generate more internal stability. Silence becomes restful instead of terrifying. Systematic integrity behaviors become automatic reflexes. You refuse dirty money without hesitation or internal conflict. You ask preventive questions about opportunity sources, incentive structures, and long-term consequences. Ethics stops being situational and becomes systematic. Moral decisions happen faster because the framework is clear. Measurable patience replaces reactive behavior patterns. You can repeat successful strategies for years without boredom or modification. You resist the urge to make anxiety-driven changes to working systems. You maintain consistent execution despite temporary setbacks or social pressure. Patience becomes a competitive advantage instead of personal torture. Value recognition and simplicity increases proportional to wisdom development. You run quarterly experiments with low-cost ideas from unexpected sources. You maintain learning ratios that favor insights over credentials. You discover profound truths in ordinary conversations with extraordinary frequency. Simple becomes sophisticated through deeper understanding. Stewardship mindset shows up in allocation patterns. Higher percentages of resources flow toward long-term assets automatically. Infrastructure, relationships, processes, and capabilities receive investment priority. Short-term consumption decreases while long-term capacity increases. Compound thinking replaces linear thinking. Courage manifests in documented decision patterns. You maintain records of unpopular but correct choices and their outcomes. You can demonstrate systematic selection of integrity over convenience. You show measurable progress in difficult conversations and necessary confrontations. Courage becomes evidence-based instead of emotion-based. These aren't personality traits you're born with or without. They're skills you develop through practice and systems you build through repetition. Wealth readiness isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a direction you move in consistently over time. The systems that maintain attraction. Daily routine architecture creates the foundation for everything else. Silence practice for decision clarity. Deep reading for wisdom development. Decision logging for pattern recognition. Ethical review for integrity maintenance. Physical exercise for energy management. Quality sleep for cognitive function. These aren't optional lifestyle accessories. They're professional requirements for wealth management. Governance frameworks prevent emotional hijacking of financial decisions. Investment checklists ensure consistent evaluation criteria. Risk policies maintain appropriate exposure limits. Entry and exit criteria reduce anxiety-driven changes. Decision logs create accountability and learning opportunities. Systems think when emotions react. Network curation prioritizes advisors who challenge without flattery. People who tell you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear. Cultures of honest debate instead of comfortable agreement. Relationships that enhance judgment instead of compromising standards. Quality of counsel determines quality of decisions over time. Ongoing learning architecture builds capacity systematically. Finance understanding, negotiation skills, practical philosophy, leadership development. Project cycles with feedback loops. Regular skill assessments and gap analysis. Learning becomes systematic instead of accidental. Competence development becomes measurable instead of hopeful. These systems require initial investment of time and energy to establish, but they save exponentially more time and energy by preventing mistakes and optimizing decisions. They transform wealth management from reactive scrambling to proactive preparation, from emotional gambling to systematic deployment. The goal isn't perfect systems, it's better systems. The goal isn't eliminating all mistakes, it's making different mistakes. The goal isn't guaranteeing success, it's maximizing probability of success while minimizing cost of failure. Systems create the conditions where wealth can find you reliably instead of accidentally. You've just witnessed something that will separate you from 99% of humanity forever. These 7 signs aren't theory. They're not motivation. They're spiritual surgery performed on your financial DNA. Right now, as these words hit your consciousness, wealth is scanning your energy signature. It's measuring your readiness. It's deciding whether you're worthy of what's coming. Every second you delay implementation, you're sending a signal. Every moment you hesitate, you're proving you're not ready. Every excuse you create, every rationalization you manufacture, every comfortable lie you tell yourself is pushing abundance further away from your life. The universe doesn't negotiate. Wealth doesn't wait for perfect timing. Opportunity doesn't care about your fears, your past failures, or your current limitations. It only cares about one thing. Are you ready to transform right now? Are you willing to become the person who deserves what you claim you want? Your old identity is dying as we speak. The person who started watching this video no longer exists. The person who makes excuses, who waits for permission, who needs external validation before taking action, that person is being buried alive by truth. What emerges depends entirely on what you do in the next 60 seconds. The choice is binary: evolution or extinction, breakthrough or breakdown, wealth consciousness or poverty mindset. There is no middle ground. There is no comfortable compromise. There is no gradual transition that protects your ego while transforming your results. If this transformation is calling your name, if these signs are manifesting in your life, if you can feel destiny pulling you forward, then stop everything else and answer the call. Subscribe now and let this awakening consume every area of your existence. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances improve. Now, right now, because wealth is looking for you and time is running out.